How to make weight for ADCC Trials or Finals. Hey guys, my name is Jay. I'm from a company called BJJ Nutrition. We are the leading Jiu-Jitsu nutritionist company out there in the world. We help people make weight, perform on the mat, build a fuck ton of muscle, you name it, we've got it covered. We've worked with white belts all the way up to black belts on some of the most prestigious shows out there in the world. From ADCC, as we just mentioned, WNO, Fury, Polaris, Grapplefest, you name it, we've covered it at some point, all the way, like I said, from hobbyists all the way up to professional athletes. So we're here today to talk about how to make weight for ADCC. Now, this is going to be applicable more so for not your opens, but more so for your trials and your finals. However, some opens do allow a evening before weigh-in, all right? So we'll clarify this to begin with by going through the weigh-in procedure. So with ADCC, it's very similar to AJP where you have an evening before weigh-in, which is a very advantageous thing to have. It allows you to manipulate your weight. Now, the weigh-in procedure for ADCC is quite clear. They'll have an allotted time slot the afternoon before, which will range from, for example, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And they'll also allow you, if it is clearly stated on the website, to weigh in the morning of your competition. So we've had some clients, for example, have some travel arrangement issues, have not been able to make the evening before weigh-in, and have then weighed in on the day of the event itself between, I think it is between 8 and 10 a.m. before the event starts. What we obviously need to do first of all is clarify, obviously, what are you going to be aiming for? If you're walking around on weight already, then fine, you may not have to deal with the hustle and bustles we'll talk about in a second of the night before weigh-in. Or likewise, like I said, if you have some travel arrangement issues, that is kind of your plan B to then potentially weigh in the morning of the competition. But we have to take in consideration the refuel and rehydration time, i.e. if you're cutting fuck tons of weight, I would not advise to be weighing in the morning of the competition expecting a fantastic performance. As with any competition, once obviously we've clarified where we're looking to weigh in terms of that, we then want to make sure, obviously, have they got test scales? Now, the accuracy of these test scales do vary because ADCC is run like a franchisee, right? Because ADCC is outsourced to other individuals to host these events, it is not unanimous across the board in terms of what to expect at these events. So we've all seen, unfortunately, the issues of ADCC Australasia trials and the first one where they had they had literally jigsaw mats which were then doubled up because they had people complain about that. It wasn't obviously proper zebra mats, which I'm not saying is the be all and end all, but they're basically on top of concrete. Eventually, obviously, originally it was only one set of jigsaw mats in terms of the competing area, and they had jigsaw mats to compete to warm up on. ADCC Australasia then obviously heard the feedback from people and was saying this is unacceptable. We cannot be competing on 1 centimeter thick jigsaw mats, and then they used the warm up mats to then double layer it up. And so then we unfortunately had this infamous moment of watching Lachlan Giles warm up on concrete floor. Jed will insert horrible picture here, which is absolutely disgraceful to do that to such a goat of the sport, to allow him to be warming up on the floor. Because it's not a unanimous setup across the board, you will have some variances. So I'll give you a couple of examples where I've attended myself. The first one was last September in 2025, where we had Poland ADCC trials. The weigh-ins opened prematurely in terms of that. The weigh-ins were at the venue where everyone's competing, and it was as simple as grab your waiver form, have your passport in hand, which is obviously something you need to clarify if you can qualify for said event, and then from there weigh in and carry on what you need to do. And I believe obviously these waiver forms were the extent of your medical form, which people obviously were fraudulently duplicating and so on. So it wasn't very much checking of this. We then obviously then go to the next European trials, which was held in Serbia, and it was a completely different story. So they did not open the weigh-ins any earlier than expected. Upon arrival, it was not communicated that you would require a paper medical form, which had to be of a certain standard, and then from there you also needed your passport and so on. So a lot of people turn up to the venue in a different country they're not particularly familiar on to then be surprised that their digital medical forms, which they were already assigned or either duplicated or whatever it could have been, were not going to be accepted. And so the only way they were able to do this was either to print this off at local coffee shops, which you can imagine at 7 p.m. on a Friday night is not easy to get hold of in a different country. And then two, the other option was to pay via the actual competition, which I believe came at the price of something like 25 euros. It then turned out, unfortunately, the medical checks were very, very of poor standard, to the point of basically a yes or no answer game of, have you got any skin infections? Yes, no, fantastic, here's your medical form, off you pop. Then once you've had said medical form, you could then go into the bullpen, which they had for the weigh-in procedure, and then from then you had to wait to then obviously be allocated to a certain table to be weighed in. And this is the point I'm trying to make here, guys, is that because ADCC is outsourced to different companies or different individuals, the weigh-in procedure at the moment is not unanimous across the board. So you might find that you turn up to an ADCC event and it is as simple as here's a little paper form, off you pop. Others want it to be done in a certain way. My personal preference is I like obviously the proper sort of standard being held to a higher level. The one in Serbia, you had obviously actual like QR codes with obviously passes and stuff like this, only a certain amount of coaches in the corners and so on, and it gave it a certain level of prestigiousness for it. I think if obviously they communicated it better prior to that, people would have been more prepared and not surprised obviously in terms of how to deal with this. Once that's then obviously said done, you've passed your medical, you've obviously got your passport, you go to the right place to then weigh in. This is a key bit of information which I've only just clarified today, so it wasn't abundantly clear on the website, was in terms of weigh-ins, you have multiple attempts. It's not a one and done situation, right? Unlike IBJJF, where if you're on the official scale and you're over, you are instantly DQ'd, okay? Whereas ADCC, if the weigh-in times open between 7 and 9, for example, okay, it means that if you weigh in at 7 p.m. on the dot and you're over by 200 grams, you still have up until 9 p.m. of that allotted slot to then make the weight, all right? Let's say, for example, you were severely over, right? And were only able to get to the scale at 8:55 and then found that all of a sudden you're 200 to 500 grams over, you can then weigh in the following day on the morning of to then obviously compete. You do not want to be cutting a substantial amount of weight in terms of that. Here's a little plug. At the bottom, obviously, in the description, you'll find a weight cut calculator, which will show you how much you should be cutting for your next event, all free of charge. The idea being is that if you have a severe amount to cut, obviously for that, again, the rehydration and refueling process for same day weigh-in or even morning of weigh-in is going to be detrimental to your performance on the mat. So again, the issue we got here is making sure that we're prepared for this, and obviously we have opportunities then to recut the weight if need be. It's not a one and done. Now, with that being said, again, because it's not unanimous, what we then found in Serbia is that some athletes weren't competing until the Sunday. So people were weighing in on the Friday, and depending on how many matches they may have had, so if you had a bye on the first day, you then wouldn't have competed to the Sunday. So some people had more than 24 hours to rehydrate and refuel. And obviously it was depending obviously on which bracket. So they got the kids and the non-professionals done first, the juveniles, mostly on the Saturday, and all day Sunday was pro fights only. Obviously, for some people who had buys first round, they didn't have to compete until the Sunday, so plenty of time to rehydrate and refuel. Which comes back to the point with one of the clients that we had, shout out Jack Sear, who unfortunately had some travel arrangements which didn't go to plan, couldn't make the wait-in time, obviously, in terms of the Friday afternoon, evening, and so then we then looked to get him weighed in on the Saturday morning, and then he wasn't then due to fight until the Sunday. Now, interestingly enough, one of the things that Jack did, he messaged the show and one of the head referees in terms of it. Actually, I don't know if it was the head referee who said this, but someone from the page and said that unfortunately he would not be able to make weight on the Saturday morning, even though it clearly stated on the website you can do so. So again, even though these shows are quite prestigious, they're quite obviously scary that you don't want to miss out your opportunity because you invest into it. Do stand your grounds if it's stated within the rules that you can weigh within a certain time, and use that to your advantage if need be. Some ADCC shows have allowances. So Australasia, for example, they had a 0.5 allowance. So people were making weight at 77.5 and able to qualify. For the finals, for example, which is due obviously in a couple of weeks' time, you'll have to be at 76.9, which is what we had for Poland and so on. So again, and reiterating this point, it is not unanimous, obviously, across the whole board in terms of how trials runs. And so you have to be aware, obviously, what's going on in front of you. Now, once you've weighed in and it's now the following day, some people have this concern of an old ADCC rule that they used to have for trials and for the pro division particularly. And that was this old rule of having to make weight on both the days. They scrapped this rule about 3.5 years ago and have not looked to reinstate this ever since. Now, the thing that I try and let athletes bear in mind is that this rule got instigated. I think it was it wasn't the finals just gone, the finals before. They changed the rule in terms of having to make weight twice. And so there were some videos prior to this of people winning their Saturday bracket in the finals and then running off into the sauna to then make weight for the following day. They have scrapped this all together, and it is only one weigh-in that needs to be done. So if you do qualify for the following day, you do not need to make weight twice. Now, in terms of obviously making weight for the event, this is where you can use all the manipulation tools that we've discussed in other videos. You can obviously have a low fiber residue diet. You can do a hyperhydration protein protocol. You can do a low sodium, low glucose, low carbohydrate diet, and then obviously look at meal timing adjustments as well on top of sweating when it comes to this. So you can treat it like an MMA weigh-in with a 24-hour sort of weigh-in refuel process. However, because it's only the evening before, we don't want to be pushing the sweating too excessively, right? So again, on the lead up to this event, you want to be obviously dieting down within 7 to 8% obviously of the weight bracket where you need to be. Now, obviously you can push these numbers if you've got repetitions or you're a little bit behind schedule. It's not the end of the world in terms of that. However, it doesn't guarantee obviously the optimal performance at the end of it. So with that being said, there's some ways, obviously, some people get around this. Some people obviously have the correct connections to be able to get IVs done, which is perfectly legal within the ADCC rule set, and they are able to then utilize that to be more rehydrated and refueled, obviously, for the competition. So when it comes into the week of the fight week itself, you want to be obviously utilizing, like I said, a low fiber residue diet, a low carbohydrate diet, a low sodium diet, hyperhydration for a protocol, and some meal timing adjustments, and then look at utilizing passive sweating along with intentional sweating. The passive sweating, you want to start early doors because you'll have a little bit more energy and a little bit more go about you, and that could be the sense of you playing table tennis in a sweatsuit, walking around the city with some layers on, potentially just doing some very, very light cardio, things like that, or even just some flow rolling. Once you've obviously done that passive sweating, you can then look at obviously the following day about when to start sweating intentionally. Most of the clients that I've worked with have had obviously afternoon weigh-ins or evening weigh-ins. We've generally started the intentional sweat around about 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. lunchtime, allowing us obviously to do multiple rounds to then obviously get the sweat off. Now, obviously, when we're planning this, we're looking to obviously find out how far away are we from the weigh-in location. Most of the time, the weigh-ins are done at the venue, but again, wouldn't surprise me with how ununanimous, obviously, ADCC with the processes of running these events, that the weigh-in might be at a slightly different venue or slightly different location. So you want to have that clarified. Again, another example was the Serbia trials in particular. The venue got changed 4 weeks out, so we already pre-booked accommodation, which was next door to the original venue, and then it got changed, and then we were then 45 minutes away. So again, preparation is key for this, to understand this. Obviously, again, infamous plug, if you work with myself, we then obviously look to plan this ahead of time to make sure we can manage this accordingly. So again, my point being is that you don't want to be making a weight as soon, obviously, as the scales open, to then travel for an hour to then get there and obviously be in the busy queue. Everyone tries to get in the queue as first as possible. If you've got teammates who are on weight, I'd potentially look to obviously see if you can get them in the queue to notify you, obviously, if the weigh-ins have opened early, or even potentially queue jump once that is then done. So once you've obviously done your intentional sweating and obviously it's all good, we then obviously need to focus on rehydration and refueling, which we've talked about in other videos, where again, we want to be focused on hydration specifically, and then obviously getting the appropriate food. Likewise, you may be in a different country, but most of the time you want to be sticking away from going out for different meals and dinners and stuff like that, and keeping the food quite bland and boring to begin with. Most of these places will have the equivalent of an easy grocery store, an Aldi, a Lidl from here in the UK. You can find most across Europe and so on. You'll have the equivalent of like Walmart and so on if you go to these different countries as well, where they'll have obviously a good substantial amount of food, which is what I normally suggest to people, is that if they're traveling obviously to this event in particular, you want to be there ahead of time so you can prepare all this and get aware of your environment and surroundings. I typically try and go to the event 2 or 3 days before the weigh-ins, so I understand how far away is the nearest shopping market, how far away is the nearest grocery market, how far away are we from the venue, what's the travel like, how easy is it to book taxis and so on. So when it comes to it, we don't have any guesswork, or we're not too concerned about stuff when it comes to that. Once then obviously you've made weight and you're looking to then compete, you will obviously have normally quite big jumps in between brackets. Most of the time you'll have about an hour to an hour and a half before each matches to be able to do so. Again, you do not want to be reliant on the venue to be having some of these, having food and drink there in terms of that. A lot of these things are done in over-glorified sports halls or football arenas or whatever it may be. Some will actually have very expensive catering. So in Serbia, we had acai bowl brand up there, but we also had a barbecue team up there which are doing very expensive food in terms of that. You don't want to be reliant on things there. You want to come as much prepared as possible, bring as much water, as much fluid, as much food as you can do, make your camp, make your base and so on, and make sure that's all prepared in time for it as much as you can do. We've explained in other videos before, but to reiterate this again, you don't want to be overtraining and underfueling on a regular basis. You will come away with more injuries, burnout, skin infections, you name it. So ideally 2 to 4 weeks prior to the competition, you want to be at the target weight and maintaining that for the rest of it, to then drop in nicely for that, to reduce the risk of being overtrained and underfueled as often as you can do. So that, guys and girls, is obviously how I would make weight for ADCC trials. Again, it's not as it is as prestigious, obviously, as IBJJF. It's some people considered the World Cup of our sport in terms of that. But as I've mentioned across this video multiple times, because obviously it's outsourced to other independent individuals to run the said show, it's not as unanimous across the board for each and every trials event. It'll be interesting to see when we go to the finals, obviously in a few weeks' time, to see how that will be run in terms of it. But the idea being is that unfortunately we've had so much variance between each and every single trial show that some weigh-ins have opened early at 3 p.m, some have been prestigious and stayed at 7 p.m. So again, you can't bank on the same thing each and every time. So it should give you a nice little breakdown on what typically happens on the events. Of course, if you've got any questions, please put them in the comments below. Please like and subscribe, obviously, to the YouTube channel for more further content. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, if you are concerned about making weight, please go and check out my weight cut calculator in the description below, and it will tell you obviously how far or how close you are to obviously making weight at the event safely without it making an interference on your performance. Hope you enjoy that, guys. Oos.